Greetings, this is Rosalind Parks with National Network View News. Tonight, weekly contributor Dr. Akili Muhammad will update us on the COVID pandemic and how fully vaccinated people are contracting and spreading the Delta variant. Then, Sister Sherrie Muhammad, founder and director of Asiatic Minds Online School, and meditation instructor Iman Ali, will discuss the importance of meditation and why Asiatic Minds offers meditation classes. Lastly, Brother King of S.O.U.L Society will discuss the organization's youth mentoring and empowerment programs, which are helping people to tap into the gifts of their soul and lock in their life purpose. Before we get into the top news, let's do a recap of the current events we've recently covered. NNV News anchor Christina Muhammad's guest commentators were artist and energy healer Sister Malika Phoenix Ali Muhammad and wellness facilitator Sister Teresa Muhammad, a traditional birth worker and birth keeper. They discussed the controversy over comments made by hip-hop artist DaBaby.
All right, so last week we witnessed cancel culture right at its finest. Do you all think that these cancellations from these festivals and events were necessary? Sister Malika, can you start us off?
I don't think it was necessary at all. I think last week the controversy with DaBaby is a prime example of how cancel culture has gotten totally out of control. And I think we need to be very, very careful about how we think about these types of things, because it's proof of a further pulling back of our rights of freedom of speech. And although it's very, very popular nowadays to speak out against people with particular sexual preferences and things of that nature, I think it's extremely important that we be very careful about heralding and cheering on this type of cancel culture.
Sister Malika Muhammad and Sister Teresa Muhammad voiced their opinions about Johnson & Johnson targeting Black women with their talcum baby powder product.
So tell me, what are your thoughts? Why are so many dangerous products being placed specifically in our communities that they know are toxic and dangerous to our health?
Well, I think that, number one, the fact that we are always the target for the worst products is one aspect. But the other part is that we're the trendsetters. You know, anything that comes into the Black community, period, women tend to be the mass consumers in the Black community. Single mothers dominate, in our homes. So, but we also the trendsetters. So when you put something in front of us, if we like it for any reason and we market it and we start wearing it, everybody wants to wear it. And it doesn't matter the color that you are. Everyone follows what we do. And that's just the way that it's been, and that's the way that it is.
Sister Malika Muhammad and Sister Teresa Muhammad also shared their thoughts about the family of Henrietta Lacks filing a lawsuit against Big Pharma.
Is it possible that other Blacks, in addition to Henrietta Lacks have cells now commonly known as immortal gene lines that have an amazing property?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. As we know from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that the Black man is the original man. So our cells are these immortal cells. That is who we are. So absolutely, I have no doubt. You hear these sorts of things all the time, not only Henrietta Lacks, but you hear about aborted fetal cells being utilized in the cosmetics industry and all this. And this is the reason why, and we all know the data or the statistics about, unfortunately, this issue of abortion in our communities. But a majority of those aborted fetal cells are African American or Black women who are releasing their children.
On this week's I Have a Testimony, NNV News anchor Willie Muhammad's guest was student minister Vervin Muhammad of Monroe, Louisiana, who discussed his work as student minister and how he joined the Nation of Islam.
Brother Vervin, you've talked about the history of the Nation of Islam in Monroe, Louisiana. Now, Brother Vervin, you've talked about the history of the Nation of Islam in Monroe, Louisiana. Now, can you share with us, with our audience, how you became introduced to the teachings and eventually joined?
Yes, sir, Brother Willis. Before I say that, I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention, the actual bow tie was produced out of the lynching that Brother Minister Biard went through.
Wow.
Uncle Elijah Muhammad said that from now on we are going to begin to wear the bow tie, especially the ones that, you know, with the clip. So that was birthed out of that situation, that ordeal.
Wow.
But Brother Minister, I was introduced to the teachings while a student at Southern University. My roommate at the time, when I was a freshman, would always play the minister. He wasn't a Muslim or a registered Muslim, so to speak, but he always played the minister. At the time, it was cassette tapes. And I would always ask him, who is that man?
Last week, I spoke with Final Call's new staff writer and weekly contributor, Brian E. Muhammad, about Israel's inordinate influence on the world stage, their interference in the affairs of other governments, and their political pressure campaigns. In May, the African Union condemned Israeli attacks on Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and Al-Aqsa Mosque and the evictions that took place in Sheikh Jarrah. Why has the AU now granted Israel observer status?
Well, you know, they've been lobbying, Israel have been lobbying to get status at the AU for a number of years. And they have been rejected because of strong pushback from leaders such as South African President Ramaphosa, and others who rejected their presence based on the principal position in support of the Palestinian cause that Israel, obviously has not moved to rectify in now 73 years.
As Israel accused Iran of recent bombing, questions remain regarding Israelis' involvement in numerous assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists and officials. A number of Iranian nuclear scientists have been assassinated. We've been talking about the bombings of the Palestinians for the last couple of weeks. Has Israel been implicated in those assassinations?
Yes, Sister Rosalind, they've been blamed and they took credit. The former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on a few occasions have alluded to what they did. Just a couple of months ago, the former head of the intelligence apparatus, the notorious intelligence apparatus of Israel, Mossad, said in an interview that they did this, that they were the culprits behind this.
As Israeli President Isaac Herzog called a boycott of Israel a new kind of terrorism designed to hurt Israel's economy, Ben & Jerry's ice cream company has said its boycott is following their social mission. Are the owners of Ben & Jerry ice cream Jewish?
Of Ben & Jerry's are Jewish. Ben Cohen and Jerry, forget his last name, but Green, I won't mess up his name, but yeah, they're Jewish. The founders are, but the company is now owned by Unilever, which is a $61 billion a year food conglomerate based in England. And, and I also want to say on that, continuing on that last point that we was talking about, that to show you the hypocrisy, all the way around, I'm talking about America, Israel, Ben and Jerry's, Unilever CEO made it very clear that his commitment is to continue to do business in the state of Israel.
Weekly contributor Dr. Akili Muhammad updated us on the COVID pandemic and Delta variant that is surging in America and around the world. Now, the CDC suggested that vaccinated people didn't have to wear masks in public. In public gatherings, and they've now reversed that suggestion. What's your interpretation of this move?
Yeah, to me, my interpretation is that it's another example of how confused these people are. Mm-hmm. They say one thing, and then within they're saying something opposite because they know how to handle this. The minister took the criteria in July 2020. Scientists from heaven cannot deal with the pandemic from heaven. And we're being shown this over and over and over again. There are certain faces that all of us know what they are. They're going to be posted in all these different news sites, and they're going to say something. And then not too long after, people have lost complete confidence because it's over and over and over again that these people are saying one thing and coming back and doing something.
Brother Shahid Muhammad, the math doctor and Asiatic Minds math instructor, discussed student achievement and proficiency in mathematics and how Asiatic Minds is prepared to help students improve their math skills and abilities. Why is achievement and proficiency in mathematics so low in America's public schools, especially for Black people?
Well, the American public school system was never set up for the masses to be literate in any of the subjects, let alone mathematics. Those in power, the rich, bloodsuckers of the poor, they desire to stay in power. So they have to make sure the masses are dumbed down and illiterate in terms of reading and mathematics. So the school system was never set up for the betterment in mathematics. And then the American society, if we look at today particularly, is a society with a lifestyle full of distractions, sport and play, people just seeking pleasure, savagery, and all those things go totally against excelling in mathematics.
Let's pause for announcements from our sponsors. Then Dr. Akili Muhammad will update us on the COVID pandemic and how fully vaccinated people are spreading the Delta variant. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Asiatic Minds, online education, helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness, as well as the greatness of our people, and upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. Call now, 502-219-4848.
This is Sister Sajda Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
The hashtag #BankBlack social media campaign made strides not only in revolutionizing how we bank, but also how we think. The movement inspired thousands of African Americans across the country to transfer or deposit millions of dollars into Black-owned banks. These are banks that will invest in urban communities, employ African Americans, support Black businesses, and inspire Black home ownership. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we are taking small but significant steps towards building Black power through Black wealth.
Thank you for tuning in to NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. This is Clifton Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
As states and communities track infection rates, questions and concerns arise over how the vaccinated have responded and the effect this will have on the population in general.
In the long term, you're going to need boosters just like you need a booster shot for flu or your tetanus shot, and these things just come up over a period. Immunity from any vaccine is great early on, and then it slowly goes away. And that doesn't mean the vaccine is no good. It's just what happens. It's how the immune system works. So we may need a booster for COVID as well. First of all, the decision won't be made by Moderna or by Pfizer. The decision as to what we do as a nation will be made by CDC and FDA and all the scientists that they talk about and consult with. So if the decision is made to do boosters, it'll be for good reason.
Joining us to discuss this is medical contributor Dr. Akili Muhammad. Greetings, sir.
Greetings. How are you, man?
Great. Thank you, sir. What's the reason the scientific community is saying a vaccinated person can transmit the COVID infection?
Well, as you know, there's this one side or the opposite in just about every aspect when we're dealing with health these days. And there are many scientists that are saying that when we are vaccinated and the body starts to produce these spike proteins on the cells, this is happening in just about all the tissues in the body. And so the immune system is having to respond to that reality, meaning that there's work that has to be done in order for the spiked proteins to be produced on so many cells. We're talking about billions or trillions of cells. And so at the same time this activity is going on, here we have the Delta variant coming into this region. So I'm specifically speaking about the United States. And now your body has to fight another variant to this so-called vaccine that's supposed to prepare you for a coronavirus. So I think some of the discussion is that although they're saying that it takes approximately 3 weeks to a month and a half for the immune system to be boosted, there are others that are saying that this potential kind of dip in the immune system strength could take weeks, months, and maybe even years before a person's system can adequately fight, if they ever can fight correctly again. And so there's a lot of information from a lot of scientists. And, some of these scientists have been very intricately involved in some of the processes of these vaccines. And, it's difficult to prove a lot of things that we're hearing these days, but of course, time will tell. But that's the number one reason that I am starting to notice in my research. And then on top of that, we have to admit that when Moderna, Pfizer, J&J, and even the rest of these vaccines from around the world, none of them have ever said that they would stop people from getting the infection or stop them from spreading the infection. So that never was part of their suggestions anyway, although I think the public believed, especially here in America, that getting a vaccine was going to solve that problem. And that's just not the truth.
Right. Now, as states and communities track these infection rates, what have you seen the vaccinated people say? How have they responded to these? And I don't want to call them accusations, but how have they responded to this recent news?
Yeah, I think a lot of vaccinated people are extremely angry, and they are becoming more and more angry as time goes on, because they literally were, like I just finished saying, they literally were thinking that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this vaccine, like some of the propaganda, right? Do this for your family. All of these ads that we saw in the Black communities and the commercials, and these athletes and these entertainers who know nothing about health coming and making these public statements, but it was so called to help put our families back in safety, put our communities back in safety. And so people believed it. whether it was warranted or not. Now, we've been telling them something different from the beginning, but
Right.
whether they believe it is their own reality. But if they did, and now they're starting to see that it is not truth that they leaned on, and I have heard people and am seeing kind of a wave towards many Black people that have taken the vaccine are upset now and becoming more upset because now they're being told that, you know, you took the vaccine, you were told or pushed or kind of bullied into taking the vaccine because
Right.
you have a sick parent or a sick family member. And now you're coming to realize that you're just as possible as giving that to those people now that you've vaccinated than when you weren't. And so that's causing some serious anger. And I think it's going to get worse.
I think so too. Yes. Now, how do these occurrences affect the population in general?
Well, I think it's continuing to separate and cause this divide, right? Like I always go back to that monumental address by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, July 4th, 2020. Everybody should go back and listen to that because he laid out so much information that we're walking into the reality of. But I think many people that did not choose to get the vaccine and don't choose to get the vaccine, they are becoming more and more strengthened in their stance. Look at all of these examples of why I am not going to take the vaccine and will not be pushed to take the vaccine. And then a lot of people that have taken the vaccine are starting to get upset at the fact that they feel like they were tricked into it or bullied into it. And so this is causing a divide, a serious divide in this country. And as the minister said, anarchy is coming because people are completely fed up. And as we heard in the clip in the beginning of this section that we're in, that man mentioned the CDC and the FDA are going to be the ones that are going to make the determination on whether or not we need to get boosters.
Mm.
And so I have been talking since the beginning of this pandemic that the FDA, the CDC, this government, and many of their arms, or I should say all of their arms, have never been friends of the Black community, have
Right.
never been friends of the Native community and the indigenous people in this country or around the world. And so we never could trust them. And so if they're going to start telling us that we need to take a booster because our immune systems are waning, well, that wasn't the information that you were pushing in the beginning. You were pitching this vaccine as it was the wonder thing to solve these problems. And so I think the general population is going to pull farther and farther away from trusting these organizations that have shown us no love and are not showing us any competency as we walk through this pandemic.
Mhm. Now, what is the reasonable and I guess righteous way to respond to what we're seeing with rising cases and the failure of this vaccine?
Well, I think, we really have to go back again to the minister's lecture. He told us do not take the vaccine.
Right.
And when he said that, there's much information that we can go and lean on why he said that. He said the treacherous history of this country and what they've done to Black people here on this land and all over the world. And here we are, this is the 8th month. So we're literally 8 months into the vaccine program in America. And we're seeing that it's totally based on falsity, totally based on them making more money, and totally based on the Black people bearing the burden, the brown people, the Native people bearing the burden of this reality. And so that is the reason that we should have a different viewpoint. And so from a righteous perspective, why would somebody not take in consideration the information from VAERS? Why would somebody not take in consideration a mother that sits and says, my child was fine until they took this vaccine? Mm-hmm. Or a family member that says, I fought through this pandemic and I stayed healthy until I took the vaccine. See, righteous people would slow down and stop for a minute and say, okay, let me look into this. Let me really get into a system of taking this information and looking at what we're really doing, maybe even stopping what we're doing until we find more information. But when you're dealing with Satan, when you're dealing with people who have no righteous nature in them at all, they can't see anything other than what they put on the platter. And so they're going to continue to push us to get vaccinated because they see no other way to fill their pockets. And the most, I think, reasonable thing that they will not allow to happen is that they can't admit that they were wrong. They can't admit that they did have another agenda. And that would cause the people in general to completely have no confidence ever in them again. And they can't afford that because they're trying to fake us into believing that they still have some type of control.
Right. Dr. Akili, I want to ask you, previously we've spoken about the Methodist Hospital in Houston and the nurses and I guess doctors who have been threatened to with unemployment if they do not take the vaccine.
Yes.
Prior to this pandemic, or really prior to the vaccine, these nurses and doctors have been treating patients with COVID. What would you say about looking at the group of doctors and nurses in U.S. hospitals as maybe a control group, or at least a group to study in regard to the health and wellness of those who are unvaccinated?
Yeah, there are some studies and there are some reports about that very thing, because there are comparison studies from medical centers around the country that are comparing those that were vaccinated and caught COVID and those that were not vaccinated and caught COVID, and then those who were vaccinated and did not catch it. And they're comparing all three, and as far as their ability to have antibodies towards this pandemic virus, right? And I say pandemic virus because, of course, now we're at Lambda variant. And the studies are saying that a vaccinated person, there is no necessity based on the studies for a person who has gotten the infection to even consider vaccination. But unfortunately, that's not being fed to the public. They're still saying that a person should get vaccinated because it decreases your ability from getting very sick, getting hospitalized, dying. But that's not what the statistics that are coming from a lot of these same medical centers and from these same states are saying about, number one, that the vaccinated are the number one spreaders of this Delta variant. And then number two, there are a lot of deaths with vaccinated people with this Delta variant. And so literally, again, we're having the pro-vaccine campaign is a double-edged or a double-tongued reality. They keep saying claims about what the vaccine is doing, but the reality that's happening around this country and around the world does not suggest that vaccine is the best route that we can take. Okay. Did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you. And finally, Dr. Akili, what's new with the Ultimate Wellness Group?
Well, the new thing with the Ultimate Wellness Group is that we are now streaming through a Black-owned streaming company, blackstream.live. And today we'll be just finalizing information for everybody that continues to support the Ultimate Wellness Group on how you can help support blackstream.live as a company, as a beautiful streaming system. And so tonight we'll be dealing with that. We'll also be dealing with some of the information that we've discussed today, just giving people a general update on the Delta variant and how it's affecting and what the cases look like in this country. So come join us tonight. We will be on blackstream.live/TUWG. So please join us and check out the Black Streaming Company.
Thank you, Dr. Akili, as always, for your insight. We look forward to hearing more from you next week.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's pause for announcements from our sponsors. Coming up, Sister Sherrie Muhammad, founder and director of Asiatic Minds Online School, returns to discuss meditation with the school's instructor, Aman Ali. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Anissa Muhammad with nnvnews.com.
As meditation can help reduce stress, improve focus, self-awareness, imagination, and creativity, it is an important component in a 21st century educational paradigm and in the Asiatic Minds online classroom. Returning is founder and director of Asiatic Minds Online School, Sister Sherrie Muhammad, and meditation instructor, Iman Ali. Greetings, ladies.
Greetings. How are you, sis?
Great. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Sherrie, will Asiatic Minds curriculum offer students the right mix of classes to help them master subjects and improve their overall level of performance and achievement in schools?
Thank you for the question. At Asiatic Minds, what we are striving to do is give more classes and offer more classes other than your basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, as we sometimes call it. So we want to offer classes that are going to help the students enrichment as a whole person. And so we have several classes outside of our math and our traditional classes that will help our students mentally and spiritually. We'll be getting into physically and in other different aspects that will help them to be able to go back to those original foundational classes and have a better mind to master them.
Thank you. Sister Iman, as meditation instructor for Asiatic Minds School, what are some of the meditation activities that students will be involved in?
Yeah, thank you for that question.
Yes, ma'am.
As you may know, there's so many different styles of meditation. And so what we will be focused on at Asiatic Minds is mindfulness meditation, which of course is one of the most popular that we've heard. I think in 2018, we saw the surge of mental health cases around our country. And mindfulness was one of the main remedies for that. So mindfulness meditation, mantra-based meditation, chakra meditation, crystal sound therapy meditation.
Okay. How have the students responded to each of those types of meditation?
Yep, well, we've seen in schools like the city of Chicago on the south side of the city. I sit on the board for the David Lynch Foundation Chicago. And what we do is take transcendental meditation into the schools where we have seen some very, very harsh things happen inside of the schools where kids were underperforming. They were also having very violent incidences in school where they were getting arrested in school. And some of the studies have got some of the statistics that have come out of those studies from doing quiet time with those students, 20 minutes a day, twice a day, 20 minutes a day, 21% increase in high school graduation rate as a result of meditation. 10% improvement in test scores and GPA, and increased attendance as well as a decrease in suspension in high school students as well. We also saw a 40% reduction of psychological distress disorders, anxiety and depression, and a reduction of teacher burnout, okay, as well as the perceived how they handle stress. So these are some of the stats and how meditation has been very effective in schools across the country.
Perfect. Now, Sister Iman, with those statistics, what are your thoughts on why meditation is not a part of schools all across our country?
Right. Well, it goes back to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's the fall of America. And if a person won't treat you right, they're not going to teach you right. And unfortunately,
Right.
all of these systems inside of the United States we are seeing fall because it is based off of very, very oppressive and I would just say just a system that is not designed to bring out the best in us at all. And so if you turn someone on to the power that's within themselves, then you can no longer control them. And so if you don't do that, then you still have amount of control. And so we've seen this throughout. We've been taught wrong. We've been taught to eat the wrong foods. We've been taught to think the wrong thoughts. And so it is not in the best interest of those who, and the powers that be, that our children even learn this, because we know that when you're under stress, your brain is working in the back of the brain, the amygdala, which controls emotional response, fight or flight. And if you are in that state, you are no longer able to make the right decision. So your prefrontal cortex or prefrontal lobe is not even working properly. So you can't make the proper decisions when it comes, and you can't focus. So you really can't learn. And throughout our communities inside of America, we have seen, just chronic stress. Students who don't even know if they're going to make it home after school, especially in cities like Chicago. So.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Sister Sherrie, is meditation an important component in a 21st century educational paradigm? If so, why?
I believe that it absolutely is important in a 21st century paradigm of education because, as Sister Iman was saying, we have to educate the entire student. When our students are approaching subjects, we know that it's been removed from them, that ability that they, or that the feeling that they feel, it's been removed from them, the confidence that they have and the knowledge of self that allows them to approach a subject with mastery. So, having meditation is going to help center them, is going to help ground them, it is going to help them be able to find that God within, reach within and find that inner peace and know that if they can control this and they can control this, then they can approach anything on the outside of self and bring that under their control as well. So meditation is absolutely imperative. And I'm so excited for us to be able to offer it at Asiatic Minds.
Right. Now, Sister Sherrie, what should parents and students expect with the introduction of meditation in the curriculum?
They should expect their child to grow. Their child to grow spiritually, their child to grow in maturity over themselves. That's absolutely what I'm expecting. And I think they can expect to, if they sit in on the class, because I intend to sit in on the class with my son and do the meditation class. So I think that they can expect to also grow along with their child.
Thank you. And Sister Iman, as a meditation instructor, you've worked with people such as hip hop mogul Russell Simmons, who is a big proponent of meditation. Can you tell us about your experiences working with him and others?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was through meditation that I actually met Russell. I was a news producer at CLTV in Chicago and had been meditating for about 10 years prior to that. And one of the benefits of meditation is a increased level of intuition, which is so important in this time frame. And I actually began, just meditating on the work that he was doing, and information began to come through about me working with Russell Simmons, and that I was supposed to work with him and I was going to meet him. And sure enough, it happened within a 90-day period of time, and just me meditating twice a day and tapping in, if you would call the Honorable Elijah Muhammad call it tuning in and tuning up, and what we call radio in the head. It does, as Mother Tainetta Muhammad mentioned at the Muhammad University of Islam's educational conference, that silence is the journey to the telepath. And so Russell, meeting him just within that 90-day period, we met, and much of all of our conversations were very spiritual. We also, every time we would go into New York City with him, he would always invite me to yoga class and to meditation. Teaching, one of the first books that he gave was called The Power of Now and the Yoga Sutras, which definitely helped to increase what I already knew and enhance that. It also has shown that with the meditation, that you can really begin to manifest the life that you want. And that's one of the things that I really want to stress to the students, is that your mind is so powerful, and you're able to do some things that you probably wouldn't have thought that you could do. And so we want to be able to open that up, because every artist that I've worked with has come from a moment of silence, from me meditating, everyone from Russell to Kanye to Snoop. It's always a spiritual experience and an intuitive experience that happens before I actually meet with them. And it actually, instructs me as to what to do and how we're to work together. And that continues to this day, especially with our new project coming through on ABC. It's the Emmett Till story. I want to say that. A shout out to Will Smith and Jay-Z for executive producing Women of the Movement, the Emmett Till and Mamie Till story, airing on ABC. It's the first time that his story will be told in this light on that national platform. And so please look for that. I worked alongside that in the production alongside the lead actress who played Emmett's mother, Mamie Till. So we want to make sure that everybody tunes in, because it's an important part of our history.
Wonderful. Now, Sister Sherrie, very quickly, what should parents and students be doing right now to ensure that they're prepared and ready for the start of the school year?
They should definitely have logged on, signed up for Asiatic Minds. If you have not yet signed up, we have one more open house. Go to the website, asiaticminds.com, sign up for the last open house, and we'll get you started on your way. We'll get you going. And I wanted to say thank you to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for his sacrifice, his family sacrifice, which allows us to be here doing what we do today. All praises due to Allah. And thank you all at NNV News.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Sherrie and Sister Iman Ali, for joining us today. Sister Sherrie, you have a wonderful, wonderful roster of instructors there at Asiatic Minds. I look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's pause for announcements from our sponsors. When we return, Brother King of S.O.U.L Society will be on to discuss this organization's youth mentoring and empowerment programs. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App, NNV News.
Asiatic Minds, online education, helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness as well as the greatness of our people. And upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. Classes begin September 1st. To enroll, visit AsiaticMinds.com.
This is Sister Sajda Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
Greetings from National Network View. This week's Final Call cover story headline reads, "Separate and Be Saved. America's race problems and deadly race interactions are growing worse. It is time we leave the children of our former slave masters and 400-year-old tormentors. Separation from whites is the only and best solution to this problem, a serious problem that is rooted in prophecy." This FCM volume number 41 edition middle page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is entitled "A Case for Separation." To read more, subscribe to finalcalldigital.com and tune in to the all-new Final Call Radio. This is the nnvnews.com Final Call cover report.
Please make sure you leave your comments and questions in the comment section below. Follow us on Facebook, National Network View, and make sure to check us out on Twitter as well, National Network View. This is Sergio Gutierrez with National Network View, signing off.
S.O.U.L Society is on a mission to motivate people to work together and provide resources for people to prosper, living a positive life while contributing to the community in a productive way.
What's good with y'all? I ain't here to see y'all there. Man, look, I'm glad y'all were able to join us today. First off, all praise due to the Most High. Thank God for another day, the greatest day ever. And here we are, standing on the sacred land. We are literally standing on top of and in the middle of a water aquifer. We are literally on the sacred land, rich, crystal, mineral-based land where this living water comes from. And as you see, we are standing by the living water, living source. You can literally see the life flowing, you feel me? And what we want to do is allow y'all to tap in with us, get this live alkaline water, and allow this to be a part of your lifestyle and your body.
Joining us to give us more information about S.O.U.L Society is Brother King. Greetings, sir.
Peace and love, family.
Yes, sir.
I'm blessed. I'm honored to be here. I say every day is the greatest day as we are living and having another chance and opportunity to move forward on the missions and the purposes that we have on this earth. So I'm honored and I greatly appreciate y'all having me today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, how did S.O.U.L Society get started?
So, in a nutshell, I'm gonna give you the long story short. You know, it's like a trilogy movie and everything. So I just give y'all a trailer. You know, but long story short, a major transition in my life. Well, one of the first things was my junior year in high school. We used to have these hotel parties, and long story short, I was arrested for the first time my junior year. Mind you, was with some weed that I didn't even know was in the environment I was in, but the way that that process was carried out and that experience was carried out in the way the cops expressed the intent, you know, to really like take down, you know, young black men. And I mean, they were literally expressing themselves in a way like, dang, this isn't even enough to really do what we would like to do with them, you know. And the fast forward that as I was trying to transition into adulthood, find my way into the world, find my mission, my purpose on this earth, I was going into a depression because I didn't see any worth of value in myself. And one of the things that really started to bring that life and that power back into me was going off to A&T, and I had an African American experience class, and
and I was able to dig deeper into parts of our history that I wasn't really exposed to. And within that process, I was first off able to see how our ancestors overcame all the obstacles, way
Yes,
bigger
sir.
obstacles than the ones that I thought were big obstacles. You know, and as I was processing the idea that they overcame the mountains of obstacles, I began to look at myself like not only do I not have any excuses, but I come from greatness, and that greatness
Right.
is within
Mm-hmm.
me, and I begin to
Mm-hmm.
charge myself to tap into that wealth that I have within myself. So that was kind of a part of the name that we came with. Soul Society is really all about
Mm-hmm.
tapping into the wealth within, tapping into that unique greatness that each and every individual has. We all have our own divine destiny in this world, and it's just a matter of getting the right support system, the right information and education, the right training to extract that greatness and be able to fulfill the potential that we have. So that some of those experiences led me down a path of wanting to develop the programs and disseminate the information to the overall community, but especially the
Mm-hmm.
youth, so they can grow up with this information that I was getting at 18, 19, 20 years old, and they can have that
Right.
wealth within and know that they have that greatness within them early, and they can grow up just mastering and harnessing that greatness.
That's right. Now, who are some of the individuals who have played a part in, or at least a key role in Soul Society's success?
So just to give a little bit of the birth, my grandfather was a very major foundation. My overall family, because we do
Mm.
move like a tribe, we move like a village, you know, and that's another part of Soul Society is rebuilding the village mentality, reestablishing that collective community mentality. And my family birthed that seed in me early. But my grandfather, he played a major role in me seeing and experiencing um, just a man in the community, investing his time, his energy, his money. And on another side, he was an entrepreneur as well. And I watched him be able to control his time and be able to empower himself and others through the businesses that he was creating and establishing. But
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather was a major role. My mother as well. She was real big on carrying the family on her back and doing whatever she could do to push us forward financially, um, and whatever she could do to set an example as well as provide. Then I have several other people in the community. I have some great teachers. Brian Terman, he was a major role awakening me in my college age group. And then my brother T Walker, he's my right hand man, my partner. He really leads the artistic branch of Soul Society. I'm more heavier. I mean, we both share all these responsibilities. I'm more on the entrepreneurship because we're real big on providing a platform for healthy expression and cultivating the arts, as well as using the arts as a way to unite the community, as well as, like I said, when I got that first charge, it put me down a path where I wasn't able to get all the jobs and opportunities that I thought I would have, and I was blessed actually through that experience to be forced to work with entrepreneurs. There's a few entrepreneurs, Kelvin Darden, Kirby White. They gave me opportunity when no one else would to be able to work alongside them, and I was able to experience and witness the ability that they had to create their own opportunity as well as provide opportunity for others. And all those things played a part in molding where I'm at as a man, and as you know, I was able to tap into my purpose by being forced into these different positions and predicaments that I had to um, not just save myself from, but be saved from as well.
Now, I want to make sure I've gotten some reports that some of our audience are having some trouble hearing you. So if you would just speak up just a little bit louder, they don't want to miss anything that you're saying. With that being said, what are some of the community service projects and programs that S.O.U.L Society has been a part of?
Are you able to hear me right now?
I can hear you now, but just a little bit louder.
Okay. So yeah, some of the projects. So the first actual event and program that we did was the My Brother's Keeper's Peace Festival. So as I was developing this vision in college, I started out with computer technology in college, and I quickly realized that just chasing the money was not the real path that I was supposed to be on. It was really about chasing my purpose, and long story short, as I was developing this vision and this idea, I wouldn't say dragging my feet, but I was preparing myself, my mind, getting the right information, getting the right support system around me. But at the same time, it took one of my great friends that I grew up with. He literally was killed. And that was one of the time, well, that experience shifted my mindset, and I realized that I'm only guaranteed my present moment. And I have to use everything I have, everything I know in this present moment to do everything I can. And as I'm, blessed with more opportunity for life and time to go on, the people will be able to see the evolution. But at the same time, I realized that I have to act now and do whatever I can do now. So therefore, there was more murders that summer in my community, probably than my whole life. So me and my brother, we just decided to do the My Brother's Keeper's Peace Festival. At that festival, we had a small art exhibit. And that art exhibit evolved into the Heart Gallery, which was our performing and visual arts, interactive performing and visual art showcase that we started. And that was one of the programs we used to just start to unite the community, as well as provide a platform for us to control our narrative, and just get our experiences and our messages out into our community.
Yes, sir.
We went on to do some other things. We've done some economic empowerment conferences. We did the Wealth Within conference, which was really just a platform that was led by some entrepreneurs to show that we have the wealth within and we can always tap into our inner powers to lead ourselves and create those opportunities and those financial gains that we really need. And we don't always have to be saved or look for a job or somebody else to give us an opportunity. Sometimes we have that power within us to create our own opportunity.
That's right.
So those are some of the major things we've done. We've also done the We Are the Gold event alongside David Banner, which was kind of in the same vein as the Wealth Within conference, to really just highlight the wealth and value and the power that we have to solve our problems and save ourselves.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother King, we are out of time, but there are quite a few things that I still need to ask you. So I want to make sure that while we're waiting on another interview for you, that we get the word out about how to reach you. Can you tell the people where they can find out more about S.O.U.L Society?
Absolutely. So if you are on Facebook or Instagram, you can go to S.O.U.L Society NC. And I do want to highlight this. This was in the video that y'all played at the beginning, the live alkaline spring water. This is Black-owned water company from Black-owned land, straight from a natural alkaline spring, and that's one of the major things we've been focused on lately, to push the health and wellness in the community, as well as this natural resource that we have the opportunity and potential to economically empower ourselves and our community as we create jobs. And you can go to our Instagram, check the link in the bio, heavyenergyuniversity.com /live-alkaline. So again, I
Yes,
greatly
sir.
appreciate y'all. I'm looking forward to y'all connecting and building with us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back to the platform to build with you all further.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Peace and one love.
Yes, sir. One love. Thank you for joining us today and tuning into National Network View News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View News. This is Rosalind Parks with National Network View News. Good night.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.